Good morning. All right, markets were down a little before. Now they're up a bit, and it's not too much of a change now. Let's see. Well, the way they're coming down here a little bit, maybe they'll be unchanged here at the open. Anyway, so coming into some resistance here, got through this part. That was good. Um, Trend is still down. But let's see what it does if it can get into this gap fill or not. Uh, Yesterday's void was extended. Right? So we can just see the close here. So is this an M top? Right, how do we define an M top? Well, a momentum move, pretty simple. Makes a turn. You get a retest and it starts pulling back. So that'll be what we'll be looking for to see if this area right here, let's call it 393, which they would have to give back all the gains here. Well, yesterday's low is 391. Even that wouldn't be terrible. 393, of course, holding 390, the whole, that round number there, and this little support, that'll be a key level if it does start coming in. Let's clean that up. SPX I've got written down. We've got a little higher, but probably, I got 40.35 and 38.80. Not that excited about the downside because there's nothing to stop it if it starts rolling. So we've got that same little, of course, little retest pattern there. And prices are right up there. So again, we'll see if it gets through it, if it pops up, as the market's open. And, we got this gap fill area here, assuming it does continue to go up. So we want to be above that. So I think 30, you got 40, I got 35. Either way, I think, either one of them will be fine because it's got a long way to run. It's got to get through 4,000. So I think that's probably unlikely. And even if it gets there, it'll pull back from that level initially. It's because it's the whole number. So, up there, up above this gap fill, I think it's a no-brainer. And so down below, we want to be below 3,900. So we got the whole number. So 38. It's 85. It's a little more premium there, but if it comes down there, it's coming down there, because that's a far distance. So in reality, if whatever type of correction that happens today, if it does happen, this little green area that I got marked there, it should stay above there. So whether we look to the left, beyond to the left, which is subjective, but this congestion right over here, it should hold in here. And then even if we get a red day, we'll see, what happens from there. We'll see. It's coming into this resistance. Can it get a little higher or not? We'll see where it ends at the end of the day. But right now, we got kind of a measured move, the initial move off of the low, little correction, the continuation. It's about the same size, and then this retest here. So we'll see what it does. I would wait, yes, for the downside. We'll see whatever little pullback is. If it continues, and it is continuing a bit more. So now it's about unchanged. You can see the cursor there on the daily chart. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I see that deep in YouTube pulling back right there, the 385. So, but look, when it opens up, when we look at what's happening pre-market, what we're mostly interested in there is like, where does that put prices in relation to yesterday on the daily chart? So obviously, if it was gapping below yesterday's low, that would be pretty bearish, very solidly. And then it's not as bearish as, say, gapping below a wide range bar. It's a narrow range bar. So after this reversal here, this correction days, even though it did clear this resistance yesterday, was a narrow range day. So there wasn't this great enthusiasm yesterday, but it was a green day and it made a higher high, a higher low bar. And now we'll see what today does. We go in with the hourly chart with a beginnings of an M top, and we'll see if it breaks below, the middle of it there, which is, around, like I said, 393-ish, give or take. Well, you can see down here, right? Right there. On the 15-minute chart, a little bit more detail. Now, looking at that, right? So when we look at one area and that breaks support, well, the next thing to do, where's the next support? Is it into a void, and to fall rapidly? You got a pretty good congestion area there. So, if it breaks down through there, how does it break down through there? It would probably stall, and then, we'll see what it does. We'll watch it in intraday, how it reacts to that. But with two pivots pretty close by, I wouldn't expect it to just collapse. All right, Qs, a little relative strength. They would push down a little bit early, and then there was that interest rate hike there in Europe, and the euro popped up, dollar came in. And so it was interesting that this went up at that time, considering, interest rates going up, not great for tech stocks, and it rallied up. And maybe they, are they just, in buy mode and ignoring any warning signs? So I don't know. We'll see. It's got room to go higher. We'll see if it can continue to do that or not. It doesn't have that same pattern of the little M top going on there. Let me look ES here again. Yeah, so just chopping sideways back and forth on an indecision. So yesterday's low area, obviously bar by bar, does it break a prior day's low on the time frame that we're looking at? So as this started to go up and we got the red bar, well, does it break the red bar's low? And it didn't. And so maybe a little short covering, and it popped it up there. And then, so today, does it break yesterday's low, or does it make a higher high? Right now, you can see it's a little inside bar. All right, Qs, right, higher high, higher low so far, coming into resistance. So now that it's got this breakout, we've got a pretty decent line in the sand here. If it breaks below, so that was a range expansion bar. We talked about those yesterday in MT Live. So there's a range expansion bar. It's a power bar, creates a void, and buyers continue to step up and created a little support area. So now we've got a breakout above these pivots. If that breaks down below that hourly bar, that's beginning of trouble. And so if it does that, we've got these pivots here. So it could be pretty choppy early on if things do start to come in, but breaking below here is going to open up the door to yesterday's low. So keep an eye on that. And of course, you can look at the Qs. Not going to be exactly the same, but you've got that similar potential M top there. If that starts to break, and obviously it's cleared that and coming up into the next level, which it's there. So risk for longs is increasing. There's no doubt of that. YM is down here a little bit, and that underperformed yesterday. But so far, just, well, you see the trading range kind of just running in place there. But if this starts to break, there's nothing going to stop it from going down. Wide range bar, momentum move, smaller time frame, creates a void. It's got to create support. Wide range bar is the weakest link in the chart because of the momentum. Russell's down here a bit. So again, not doing too much of anything. Similar pattern there. Now, Bitcoin down 1,000 points. Market doesn't care, right? Is this detaching or is this just, foolish bullishness? Now, it did clear these highs, and coming in like this suggest, well, we'll get another buy setup, but it shouldn't come all the way back down to the bottom of that wide range bar. And it should, right? The pivot should get closer together on this pullback, and then it should try and turn back up maybe by tomorrow. But the more this gives up, the more I think the markets are not going to like it. And we see the 3-month just continuing, right? It's up here, it's hanging up there. So as I said yesterday, the day before, when the Fed meeting comes, this is saying to them, you better do 3/4 and one would be better. As much as that's going to hurt in other ways, it's kind of like, can you get the pain out of the way? Maybe Thane, I didn't look at the news. Some Tesla selling Bitcoin. I don't know. I guess it depends on how much Bitcoin they have. But yeah, I saw the unemployment was stronger, McGraw. And so this is what supposedly the soft landing was going to be based on, was consumers are going to save the day, which one of my comments over these past few weeks was, why would you think that with inflation like this, and consumers are going to draw in, as prices go up for all the things that they are, people are typically going to pull back on something. And now you got unemployment moving up. So, markets had this little bounce here within this bear market. We'll see what kind of downside move comes. But you got the 5-year just kind of hanging out here, starting to turn back up. Still in an uptrend on the weekly time frame, as is the 10-year. And this is pulling in here. Things all over the place here this morning. And crude oil diving. We'll see if it holds this low or not, just whipping back and forth. Silver, it was, all over the place too, but that popped up. So markets are pretty erratic here this morning. And we'll see how it shakes out in the first half hour or so. I say, Lenny asks, Dan, Greg, when you do 0 DTE on SPY? Well, we don't do SPY too often, Rob, because it typically doesn't have the premium SPX. And you are wrong. Well, you kind of, that's a personal decision whether you're going to do 2X or 3X like that. That's why we get so far away. And you have to assess how things start to go wrong, first on, and maybe just kill it quickly. It's kind of, you're watching your internal gauges, what the VIX is doing. Yeah, McGraw saying the same pretty much I am. He doesn't use that kind of, measurement. He just looks at the chart. So, the margin, the risk that is there and how fast things move, and you make decisions. But you see what we're doing here, and honestly, we're rarely wrong, right? Because we're typically looking to fade moves, just like things are up here, and so we look at where prices, like with any spread, where they won't go, and are they likely to go up here? No, they're not. So. Yep. And may have to go back to E-mini. SPY may get to, yeah. All right, Dan, to you.
Good morning. Yeah, things are erratic here. We had the the ECB come out raising interest rates as expected. We were down. I actually was shocked that they said this was their first interest rate rise. I didn't know they were that far behind us. So, we had a little initial move down and then took out yesterday's closing pivot. Now we're coming in. So yeah, things are wacky here. We're 100% bullish stock and option positions, and we're actually pretty loaded. I said I was bullish over yesterday's high, maybe target gap fill, but that we're not going to get complacent. I'm on, actually, selling in the strength situation, but I still find a lot of great patterns. So let's just concentrate on the problem children. Dollar Tree, Stephen mentioned, ugly bar. That is an ugly bar. Let me look at a level one. Sometimes it could be a bad tick and we get a gift. Let me look at 169. No, that's offered at 170. Volume 3,600. So we have a 162.5 put spread for next week. Still on support here. We just gotta keep an eye on it. He's on probation, as I call it. UAL is down, so that's going to drag the airlines. We were in Jets put spread that we closed yesterday at a penny. 50 MA was our target. That was a beautiful bottoming pattern. So we do have Delta $30 puts. So I just said let's move a 30-minute low. I had yesterday the stop tighter break even or whatever number I gave. Today's Thursday. I think Tuesday's low I gave. So we'll keep an eye on that. But even if we do stop out, it's going to be pretty close to break even. Amazon, we're long stock. I tightened the stop under this 15-minute pivot with the pre-market strength and the iffy market. Tesla, I sold it out of the money put yesterday. We were talking about it in the green room. I sold the 520 puts, and I sent out a text saying, "Look, it's a bullish pattern. I mean, look, here's my put. I picked 520 because it's way under this." So that obviously with the they call it volatility crush after the announcement. So I'm going to have a huge open gain at the open, just not only from the directional being higher, but the vol crush. But I want to keep an eye on this for a new trade, because now that it's a gap breakout, we can do a put spread not only for tomorrow, but for next week, as long as it's somewhere under all this daily base. So that I like a lot. I posted a list here. I love earnings season because we get so many tradable opportunities. That's why I have both for directionals and credit spreads. And I love credit spreads on earnings because the volatility is still high. So Tesla definitely meets that. A couple of these metals look great. Those for put spreads and 30-minute highs. Stolled looks good. AA looks good. NUE looks good. All similar patterns. So these are all candidates, 30-minute high and put spreads, even 5-minute highs that can be more aggressive. Dove, I see here. Dove was a 1, 2, 3. So that's a 10, 15-minute high. That looks fantastic. Let's see, Papa Mike. Well, see, this was on my bullish list because it was gapping over here. Now it's giving it up. So I'm not sure about Papa Mike anymore. All right, Dash, we shorted a put spread yesterday. It was up. Yesterday's high is a directional. So the only fly in the ointment now is I'm not going to want to be trading these bottoming patterns if the market's the mothership's at a turning point. So that's the only kind of fly in the ointment. Let me set an alarm here. $78 on the dash. Artillery dog has been acting well. We're long this. Look at the volume. Remember how we say volume is secondary? So I would have the same conclusion about these wide range bars, red bar north, breakout bottoming pattern. But when I throw all of this volume in, it just makes that pattern a plus. It's more powerful turn on volume. So we're already in that. It's a pre-market. Looks great. Amazon buying might be able to sell NP at the open. Not sure what you're saying, McGraw. Russell FO, not sure what that means. So dollar tree I mentioned. DTSS bottoming pattern got whacked, but now it's back up. Nah, that's too erratic for me. And I went through all these earnings and I already chopped out a bunch of them just because I'm going to be overloaded as it is. $17. Gap's too big. But that was a nice weekly for a bottoming pattern. See, got above the 20, retested the low, and you got a 1, 2, 3 on the weekly. So that's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. Amazon bought OE. Okay, I didn't see it right there. Cliff. Yeah. There's a number of these metals I like. We actually have XME in our ETF trader, and see we trade longer term in that service. And look, wide range bar to major support on the monthly, stabilization on the daily, and so we got in on Monday. So perfect entry. So yeah, these metals are all looking good. Yes, AA I mentioned. Yeah, I mentioned like four that I like. All right, TDOC I was seeing getting whacked here this morning. It was an adequate bottoming pattern. I got no interest in that. Oh, I read in the journal that Brookshire. Craig, I remember mentioning this to you for the ETF trader, but 420,000 was a little difficult. But I read that the Reddit boys or Robinhood or somebody or other with their fractional shares created some artificial volume in this or something like that. All right, Bravo X-ray. This, I think, had earnings. It's a call spread candidate, but also I read interesting journal. So this is kind of a contrarian indicator for me when companies do things after multi-year either rallies or crushes or whatever. So they said Brookstone or Blackstone, whatever they're called, is coming out with the largest real estate fund, I think, in history, $30 billion fund they're about to open. And that's after, look at a chart of home prices. I think that's a bearish contrarian right there. Now, I don't know what real estate they're getting into, but I don't care. That's a bearish sign for short-term top in real estate. You got all these people giving them money. Oh yeah, get me in real estate. Right at the top. That is just how human nature works. Ford said they were laying off 4,000 people and the market's up. Well, and not the market stock. So I don't know if that's the reason, but multifamily apartment. All right, but still, FT, still, I don't care. One guy on TV this morning said, you know how I've been bashing the Fed or whoever comes out with that number on inflation, talking about housing. And they're like, oh, it's 5.6%. And I'm like, what friggin' cave are you living in to think housing's only up 5 points. It's like embarrassing that you could say that with a straight face. And some, I forget who it was, he was on today saying, no, that is BS. It's 3 times that number. Well, then who's effing it up? I don't get it. But here, Snap, yeah, Snap's a nice bottoming pattern. Yeah, no, I'll put Snap on the list. I don't, yeah, we got to check earnings, of course. All right, SAP, gap down. McGraw, here's a call spread candidate. If there's any juice over yesterday's high. In earnings season, I'm going to need help at the open. I'm telling you the ones I like right here. Carnival needing to sell another $1 billion of stock. Barron's had an article 2 weeks ago saying, be careful on these cruise ships. If they run out of money, they got big old debt from having to be bailed out in Corona. SMSI put spread candidate. I'm sorry, you aren't going to sell a put at $2. It's a bottoming candidate. XM VRSK alarm. All right, that's a nasty gap. That XM was a nice bottoming pattern until the gap down. All right, VRSK. All right, up alarm. We bought this yesterday, so let me set a new up alarm. I'll set it at 185. I know, Stephen, I know, me too, Stephen. I was looking, I'm in Dollar Tree too. I got a boatload of open positions, and I even said in the video last night, I said that is a personal contrarian indicator of mine. When I have too many opens and things seem too easy, it's like, oh, everything I touch is just another beautiful no-brainer trade. That's danger, danger, danger. You better start liquidating. That's a personal contrarian indicator. So that's another reason why I said I'm not getting stupid. McGraw will say, don't you mean more stupid, Dan? Yes, thank you for the correction. I'm not going to get more stupid in complacency. All right, Papa Mike, I see here coming back. But it's messy. Yeah, McGraw, do you want to be our metal man? I can't buy 30-minute high on new, but I gave this as a put spread 5-minute high. So we got new, stalled, AA, FCX, Cliff. I gave you 5 metals I like. Let me look at NUE put spread. Here's where I hold my breath and say, let there be juice. There's nothing for this week. So going out to next week, I wanted the one, the spreads are asinine. So McGraw, the 110s next week, 14 by 89. I'm going to try 75 naked. 110s next week, 75 naked, and see if I get it. So, all right, that order's out. Tesla bottom right, I said. All right, so yeah, so still is holding well. Check that one next, please. Google's coming in hard. Apple has a bearish engulfing based on the pre-market chart. Google's the ugliest, Tesla's the best. All right, so Tesla, let's see if we can do anything for tomorrow, because volatility still is high. I would love it somewhere down here, the 700s. $89.95. Let's see what $20 wide looks like. 700, 680. 39 cents is all. I think I'm going to wait a little more and then maybe go to next week. But that's a beautiful, beautiful gap from a multi-month bottom. That is a picture of beauty. All right, Dove coming in, so no interest there. I'm stalled. Put spread is all. I'm no directional unless it's 30-minute high. Stalled. Let there be choose. I'm eyeballing the 65. There's no weeklies. But McGraw, the 60s. Here you go, McGraw. The 60s, if you don't mind holding it a month. 70 by $1.30, $50, $5 Y midpoint is 55 cents. I'm going to try 65. I'm gonna try 65. So let's order out. No, I'm not filled. No, you'll hear a ding. No, I'm not filled. All right, AA is coming in hard, so let's hold up there. We said FCX. No pattern. Cliff Clavin. Yeah, so we gotta let them settle down. Yeah, look, XME was up pre-market and now it's flat. So I'm not as crazy about metals here anymore. They need to settle down. Things, yeah, I mean, this could be a turn day, you know, gapping down. We're in a tight range so far, so no longs for me. Bitcoin down a little bit. One of my, yeah, I mean, look how coin got cranked. One of my Bitcoin buddies told me yesterday, he's like, oh, Dan, you know, the reason why that Bitcoin was tanking was because Musk sold 75% of his position. And I'm like, okay, so, you know. And then he was showing me some tweets that says, you're a loser. And I'm like, really? You're telling the richest man in the world he's a loser? That's an interesting characterization. All right, LCID, I already have this. Well, we're already in LCID and also Riven. LCID, let me set an alarm at 2130 because that would be a beautiful 1, 2, 3. And look at the bottom middle here, weekly. It's a 1, 2, 3 also. So that looks fantastic, but things are coming in here.